This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Walk with you where you go. Anywhere I'll follow. I know you. I know you. Leaves falling on the road. You can cry on my shoulder. I know you. I know you.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I know this, but do you know this by now? Because we've only been saying this for years, no doubt there. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Anyways, today's Monday, June the 23rd, big day, of course, of 2025, day 174th of the year, and only 191 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yeah, it probably helps if I say that I'm on the multiverse known as Safety FM. That probably helps out a tad bit in regards to what's going on. Anyways, how you been? How was your weekend? Did you do anything exciting? Did you do anything that would make your mama proud? No, seriously, make your mom proud in regards of what's going on. I'm just asking the question. You know, I always think it's interesting when you come off the weekend because then people are like, how does it go?
I got a case of the Mondays. I don't know what to do because it's Monday. Are you okay or is it Monday?
I don't even know what that means. Like, people get so excited about the Friday thing, which is confusing as well. It's like, why would I be more excited about one day of the week than the other? I don't get it. I remember I've pissed people off in the past by saying, well, if you love Friday that much because you're not going to be working, maybe you got the wrong job. And some people don't like that. But I'm not trying to do it to piss people off. I'm just saying, hey, maybe it's time to do some reconsideration. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into what's important. Let's talk about what we got going on. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of the way that it goes inside of the world of the multiverse here. Just kind of what everything we talk about. So as you go through this, and I go through this together, we talk about safety, we talk about news, and we blend them all together. I give you some level of a main story Monday through Thursday, just not on Friday. And then outside of that, you know, you can interact with the show. Callinradio.com does the trick there, as you can call in and take a listen to everything that's going on. Video, audio, text messaging once you get to callinradio.com. And then we kind of go from there. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight, because, you know, that was a big deal.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as you know, everybody was freaking out over the weekend because it was just kind of the way that it goes. So Revealers descend on the Stonehenge for the annual summer solstice. Also, Diddy's trial could see closing arguments this week, and the NYPD is investigating Anne Borelli's death. Also, Madonna may not have enjoyed Hamilton, and Owen Wilson returns to Meet the Parents franchise. Also, what is Megan's success trying to accomplish? We're going to talk about that. We asked that inside of the Royals. So, as you know, there was some big stuff going on over the weekend in Iran. And so, of course, we have our friends at Feature Story News that I am pretty sure that will cover some of that information today in regards to the stuff going on. So if you're good to go, I am good to go, and we can kind of start covering some of this information, because why would we not do that? So if you're ready, I'm ready, and we're going to get going right now. And I'll bring in my friends from Feature Story News to give you the news. Yes, the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US President Donald Trump claims US strikes in Iran obliterated 3 key nuclear facilities. The UN's nuclear watchdog says the extent of the damage from the bombings remains unclear. Iran's accused the US of waging war against the country and says its punishment of Israel will continue. Former UK Defence Minister Tobias Ellwood says recent history carries some warnings.
There are economic ways that they can cause huge harm, not just in the Straits of Hormuz because of the movement of oil, but also in the Red Sea through their friends, the Houthis. They can block that. And ultimately, they're trying to stay in charge. You can have the most formidable firepower, the most incredible intelligence. You can destroy the regime itself. But look what happened in Iraq. Look what happened in Afghanistan. Look what happened in Syria, where Assad is now gone, replaced by an old Al-Qaeda boss.
China's condemned the US attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, saying the moves damaged Washington's credibility. China, along with Russia and Pakistan, at a UN Security Council meetings, proposed the body accept a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East. Rebecca Bunden reports from Hong Kong.
China's UN ambassador Fu Kong, according to the state broadcaster CCTV, said that the credibility of the US had been damaged as a country and as a participant in any international negotiations. Beijing, in a statement on Sunday, said that Washington's actions have exacerbated tensions in the Middle East and it is calling for a ceasefire to be reached as soon as possible. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in comments to Fox News, said he was urging China to encourage Iran not to shut the Strait of Hormuz. It is an important global route for crude oil, which China depends on heavily for its supplies. Rebecca Bunden, Hong Kong.
India says it's diversifying oil procurement as tensions in the Middle East threaten trade through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's threatened to close the narrow trade route after US strikes on nuclear facilities. Indian officials say they're monitoring the situation, as Ishan Garg reports from Mumbai.
India's Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri says New Delhi is actively looking at other energy partners and that a vast majority of its oil now does not come through the Strait of Hormuz. The narrow water body in the Middle East acts as a passage for roughly a fifth of the world's oil trade. Indian officials' assurances come as global oil prices are likely to skyrocket this week. Officials say they are monitoring the situation as private data shows India increasing its purchase of Russian oil over Middle Eastern supply. Ishan Garg, Mumbai.
At least 4 people have been killed in a Russian drone and missile attack on Kiev. Ukraine says residential areas, hospitals and sporting infrastructure were hit. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, President Trump has pulled off one of the most daring military and strategic bluffs in history, attacking Iran's nuclear site with bunker-busting bombs just a week after insisting that America had nothing to do with Israel's missile strikes on the country. The president's turnaround came 48 hours after he indicated a willingness to give diplomacy perhaps another fortnight to bear fruit. It was not to be, and in Washington there is debate about why the president president decided to go for broke. Jim Townsend is former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Europe and NATO in the Obama administration.
This is something that goes against isolationism, which, is a good part of the Republican Party now. This goes against staying out of the forever wars. And he seems to be going against his own people in terms of their philosophical approach about America first. I think part of it is how he was looking, that as he was dealing with the Ukraine-Russia peace negotiations, as he was dealing with the Iranians, he began to get the feeling that he was being tapped along. I think he felt that if he didn't take action, he would be looked upon as weak. He was fearful that his own image was being tarnished by not looking decisive and taking action.
It also still leaves the door open to possible diplomacy, although the Iranian response has been furious, arguing at the UN Security Council that the US B-2 bombing raids were illegal. I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, US President Donald Trump claims American strikes on Iran obliterated 3 key nuclear facilities. China's condemned the US attacks on Iran's nuclear sites, saying the moves damaged Washington's credibility. India says it's diversifying oil procurement as tensions in the Middle East threaten trade through the Strait of Hormuz, and at least 4 people have been killed in a Russian drone and missile attack on Kiev. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Really? We're sarcasm and radio and both combined? That's kind of a scary aspect. I guess I really never gave it any kind of thought. Anyway, 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Oh, yes, Monday. You know, it gets people excited. Yeah, after I said all that other shit at the very beginning. Okay, so let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Because that is what we do around here. We multiverse away in regards to the things that are going on. Because what else would we be doing if we weren't talking about that stuff? So let's go into it. Operation Midnight Hammer. Operation Midnight Hammer. Just after 2 a.m. local time in Iran, American bombers destroyed 3 facilities key to Iran's nuclear technology development program. The planes dropped 14 massive ordnance penetrator bombs or bunker busters across 3 facilities inside of Iran, making it the first time that American military has used this technology for operations. The 7 B-2 Spirit bombers had left 18 hours prior to the Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, traveling more than 7,000 miles as they approached the Iranian airspace. American fighters get patrolled at high speeds and altitudes, monitoring any surfaces to air threats and enemy jets. About 2 hours before the bombers arrived at their target, an American submarine fired Tomahawk missiles to eliminate other ground-based Iranian air defenses. As of Sunday morning, the Pentagon reported that it was unaware of any shots fired at any components of the strike package, which included total included dozens of bombers, support fighters, and refueling tankers in a stunning display of American military supremacy. Following the bombing campaign, President Trump said that Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated and called for peace with Israel. He warned if peace does not come quickly, we will go after other targets with precision, speed, and skill. On Sunday, Israel continued its bombing campaign on Iranian military and nuclear sites. So, that's what we got. Information. So what do you think here? Yeah. It gets interesting as we start talking. I don't know how people are going to take a look at some of this stuff when it's all said and done. So I guess we're going to find out together.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, always trying to be entertaining or something. Anyways, attendees at Crosspoint Community Church avoided likely tragedy on Sunday after a security guard killed a would-be shooter. A visitor of the parking lot apparently spotted the man with the gun and struck him with his vehicle. While the impact stunned the gunman, he was able to shoot and enter in the leg of the security guard, who has been able to shoot the gunman dead before police arrived. The spooky development, the sounds of gunfire outside were heard on a live stream of the church service, and it was in progress at the time of the incident. This is according to, WXYZ in Detroit. Yeah, WXYZ in Detroit. Some things going on right there as we are talking. I mean, it gets it gets a little spooky ooky, if you know what I'm saying, in regards to some of this stuff, because, man, the world continues to get stranger when some of these things start taking place. No doubt about that. So could you imagine that you're at a church service, all of a sudden, maybe even on the verge of going in, and all of a sudden you have some weird altercation outside? Yeah, you're probably going to start thinking about some things differently, if I may say so myself, in regards to that, just kind of the way that the world goes from time to time. So what do you think here? I mean, what do you think about the whole thing? It gets kind of strange, right? I mean, it's just not kind of the common thing. So let's take a listen here. Let's take a listen to what's going on.
Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. John, they gotta come.
That was the moment gunfire erupted during Sunday services at a Wayne church, leaving one person injured.
As you can see, it's censored significantly.
Thank you so much for joining us as we follow this breaking news on 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Whitney Burney. This all happened this morning at the Crosspoint Community Church on Glenwood Road. Here's what we know at this hour. The suspect arrived at the church around 11:15 this morning as worship.
So late service people, for late service people.
Tells us another person tried to stop that gunman with his truck when the suspect opened fire. That's when a security guard got involved and fatally shot the suspect. One victim was hit in the leg. We have team coverage tonight. 7 News Detroit reporter Carly Petrus is hearing from parishioners who were there when this all unfolded. We are waiting on an update from Wayne Police.
I mean, how crazy does that get when you start thinking about it overall here?
Still an active scene out here at Crosspoint Community Church. I've been out here since about noon speaking with members of the church who were inside when shots rang out, as well.
So, I mean, as you hear, it got pretty strange right away in regards of what was going on. So there you go. I mean, how weird is that? Anyways, let's talk about some other things. Sausage Wars, Hormel and Johnsonville of Brad fame are headed to court in 2023. Brett Sims left Hormel to join Wisconsin-based Johnsonville as a chief supply chain officer. He then was hired away from former Hormel colleagues Jeremy Rummel. A few months ago, Hormel alleges that he violated a non-solicitation clause in his contract. Hormel also alleges that Rummel stole secret Hormel recipes and product information before joining the ship by emailing confidential files to his personal account with the intent to share with his new employer. Hormel is seeking monetary damages and court ordered that Johnsonville retrieve, return, and destroy any trade secrets as they are received. This is according to Fox 9. So, some sausage war. Interesting. Okay, an estimated 25,000 tourists flocked to Stonehenge in England on Saturday at the summer solstice, the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. While the original purpose was to construct methods to remain a mystery, the stones do align with the rising sun in a unique way in the shortest and longest day of the year. In particular, the sun rises directly in the line of the heel stone in the northeast section of the formation, creating a striking visual effects. English Heritage, the group that manages the site, says that the year's gathering was the largest on record. The annual event also marks the rare occasion when visitors are able to get up close to the ancient stone formation, which is fenced off for the rest of the year. This is according to the Independent. So is this something that you would go to? Like, would this be something that would intrigue you where you would say, hey, I need to go to this? I mean, I'm just saying, just to see the sun align with some stones. I'm asking a question because I just want to have a better understanding. Don't get mad at me for asking questions because, inquiring minds need to know. Anyways, an 80-year-old man was questioned by officers last week after he attempted to drive down Rome-famed Spanish Steps. The unidentified driver, who tested negative for both drugs and alcohol, said that he was going to work and he had taken the wrong turn. The Italian fire brigade had to use a crane to lift a Mercedes-Benz A-Class car off the steps. Archaeologists will inspect the historical site for damages. By the way, Italian law requires that drivers over the age of 80 to renew their license every 2 years and undergo medical examination, which includes basic cognition questions. This is according to CNN. I think that's a great idea. And with Tesla releasing the robo-taxi recently, maybe it's an idea where, some of these people start looking at self-driving cars. I'm just saying. I mean, however you feel about Tesla is one way or the other, but let's be realistic. Their technology is really, really good in some of the stuff. Like it was interesting because I was listening to somebody talk and they were like, I don't think that I would get into a robo-taxi with nobody being behind the wheel. It's like if you ride in a Tesla that has full self-driving, for the majority of it, if the person is using it, I know it's supervised. But you're really not really doing much of anything. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Anyways, let's talk about this. Actor Jack Betts has died. He passed away in his sleep on Thursday in Los Osos, California home. No further details are known. Betts is best known for his role in Spider-Man. He was 96 at the time of his passing. Also, Galen Sarton has died. He passed away of natural causes in his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma on Thursday. He's best known for his role in Hee Haw and The Outsiders. He was 81. Also, FedEx founder Frederick Smith has died. Yeah, he's the founder. He passed away on Saturday. No word of the cause. In addition to the founding of the company, Smith was also minority owner of the Washington NFL franchise. So there you go. He was 80 at the time of his passing. Also, let's talk about the box office because people are going to want to know about this. At number 10 was Kuberia. I never heard of it. $1.7 million. Number 9 was Final Destination Bloodlines with $1.8 million. And number 8 was Karate Kid Legends, $2.4 million. And number 7 was Ballerina with $4.5 million. And number 6, The Materialist, $5.8 million. And number 5 was Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, $6.5 million. And number 4 was Lilo and Stitch, $9.7 million. And numero 3, Elio, newest from Disney, $21 million. And numero 2 was 28 years later, $30 million, and staying in at number 1 because, people like live actions, it sounds like. It is How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon. $37 million. So there you go. Okay, so take a listen to this, The Swamp, and I'm going to give it to you as the editor put it here. Good luck, babe. Democrat Representative Alexandra Ocasio says that the weekend strike on Iran's grounds for impeaching President Trump. In a post on X, AOC wrote that Trump has impulsively risked the launching of a war that may affect generations to come. It's absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. Meanwhile, Republican deficit hawk Representative Thomas Massey shared the sentiment, reposting Trump's announcement of the raid with the comment, "This is not constitutional." Earlier the week, he co-sponsored a resolution with Democrats Representative Rohana that would restrict president's ability to unilaterally order bombing campaigns and other military involvement. However, the House Speaker Mike Johnson publicly supports Trump's action. Worth noting, the Trump administration, like many presidents before him, will likely use the War Powers Resolution of the 1973 to justify the action, which gives the executive power to unilaterally conduct military operations that remain limited in scope and duration. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about the numbers. The Dow gained about 35 points to close at 42,206 on Friday. The S&P lost about 13 points to close at 5,967, and the Nasdaq lost about 98 points. West Texas Intermediate closed at $76 a barrel on Friday, and Brent crude was at $80 a barrel. Expect a jump in oil prices this week. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.21 on Sunday, and Bitcoin clobbered on the weekend, the wake of Iran action, briefly dipping below $100,000 on Sunday. Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $326 million jackpot or $145.7 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $118 million jackpot or $53.1 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you still have the opportunity to do so. Also, in some other news, prosecutors in Sean Combs' sex trafficking trial are hoping to rest by the end of today. The defense stated that they expect the rest by the end of the day or tomorrow or even Wednesday. So at the end of the day tomorrow, today, or Wednesday. So maybe we should just say, I'm planning on closing sometime this week. If all goes as planned, closing arguments could take place as early as Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. What else is going on? The NYPD is investigating the Food Network star's Ann Burrell's death as a possible drug overdose. Several outlets have reported that when she was found unresponsive by her husband in the bathroom of their home, she was surrounded by dozens of pills. First responder pronounced her dead. An autopsy has been completed by NYC medical examiner, but the results are still pending. Burrell was only 55 at the time of her passing. Also, there are some bad blood between frenemy Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber after fans noticed the two have unfollowed each other on Instagram. Does this really fucking matter? I mean, I don't understand this. Let's see. The unfollowing comes after both went out of their way over 2 years ago to put to rest the rumors of a feud. Several fans' theories have emerged for what could have happened, including that Gomez being jealous of Bieber's successful beauty line, or that Bieber's husband and Gomez's ex Justin Bieber's weird behavior played a role. Meanwhile, others seem to be over back and forth of the two A-listers rolling their eyes at another rumored feud. I mean, I don't even understand how people are talking about this. Like, is that really that important? Oh my God, they must not be friends anymore because they unfriended each other. Let me give you one more real quick. Dolly Parton and Motley Crue joined forces for a new version of the latter's hit song, Home Sweet Home for a Cause. The new release benefits the Covenant House 9 line, which provides safe shelter and meals for youth experiencing homelessness. The Home Sweet Home was first released back in 1985 as a single of the band's Theater of Pain album. Holy crap, 1985. Still remember that. Oh, scary times. Scary times. Okay, so let's get into it because it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Main story time. Yeah, it's main story time for us to talk about a little bit of everything that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is what we do around here. And listen, I have to tell you, we have to talk and we have to do all the fun stuff that we get to do because, man, number one, let's start off that it's June the 23rd, so we are aficionado. I think we're officially in summer because I think that's how that kind of thing works in regards to that. So let's start off with that. But let's talk about some of the weirdness that happens during this time. Let's talk about some of the strangeness that happens. And we've already talked recently about how weird work gets. And then we talked about, who's really being paying attention to what's going on as people are on vacation. So why don't we talk about something a little bit weirder for a moment? A strange thing, a strange anomaly, a strange thing that has occurred from time to time inside of the workplaces. You know that there are always people that will not agree with your general consensus on how things need to be done when it comes to the relationship of safety inside of your workplace. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this is not some weird anomaly that I'm sharing with you. But it's kind of one of those things that things happen and people go, oh, well, we shouldn't probably do that. And we shouldn't probably do this, that thing. But what happens when the flip occurs? That person that was the one that was grandstanding, the one that was telling everyone that there's no way in hell that we should be doing X, Y, and Z, all of a sudden says, oh, no, something terrible has happened. And what person said is what needs to be done. Yeah, that gets weird relatively quick. And it's amazing to me that two things normally happen. When you have a huge event that occurs, people normally do one of two things. They either listen extremely closely to what you've been talking about the whole time and say, let's run with this, or you run into this other issue. And let me tell you what the other issue is. They default back to what things were being done prior to X thing happening. So let's talk about the positive one, where they go into the method of madness of maybe what you've been talking about. And you might sit there and go, well, why does this occur? Well, if you've ever done any kind of case studying or a little bit of looking into, and let's go as far as saying searching on Google, you can find out right away that when a big event occurs, it will have an emotional response inside of the workplace. It just does. It's just kind of the way that it goes. And once that happens, the world changes a little bit. And let me explain why I say that. Because the world changes from the aspect of this. People will have that emotional response for up to 6 weeks because they do not know how to handle a situation. Just kind of how it goes. This is why you'll see that if there's a big event that occurs inside of your workplace, people will change everything that they do for at least 6 weeks. Just kind of how it happens. Don't know why it happens that way. It's just sheer numbers. So as you notice this, there is a moment in time that maybe even the person that disagreed with you the most will all of a sudden change everything for you. Like I remember working at a place where something major had occurred. All of a sudden, an unauthorized driver jumped into a vehicle to start making deliveries. The driver, who was the manager of the place, ended up getting into a car incident. He was driving a pickup truck, got into a car incident with another car. We'll call it an accident or wreck, however you want to word it. And our default mode is to normally send the person involved in a vehicle incident to go take a drug test. With this emotional event occurring because the regional manager and the general manager were close, guess what the regional manager told the general manager? No, you do not have to take a drug test. Make sure you take care of yourself, overriding the policy and the procedure and how we do stuff. Emotional event occurred, changed everything. And that's what happens. That's what happens from time to time. You have to make these ideas, you have to take these things, you have to make these things occur where people don't love life sometimes when it comes to these things, but you have to have somebody who's almost on the outside that will not have that level of response. So going back to how we started, emotional events occur inside of the workplace, and you might have your biggest suitors or people that are against you turn around and say how they agree with you. Maybe that's the time where you start having those deep conversations on how things can change within your organization, opposed to going, oh, this is only just an emotional event. Sometimes something catastrophic has to occur for people to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free. That's HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free to use the code safetyfm free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free with code safetyfm free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
You could be listening to the best, but you're not. Radio Big.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you.
It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative,
and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
It's my kind of music. I get the best mix of my favorite music. All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
You can cry on my shoulder, I guess. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Doing all the fun stuff, of course. Yep. Always a good time as we get to hang out. This is Arctic Summer, Hold Your Hand. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. Always a good timer as we are listening to some new musica. We would like to thank Arctic Summer for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the move and the grooves of all the things that are going on inside of the multiverse. So let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Our Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, that's just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms and click on the section that says Find Help. Let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Endless bummer. Yes, I did say endless bummer. Work days aren't just long anymore. They feel endless. According to a new research from Microsoft, workers experiencing what they call infinite work days, juggling nonstop streams of meeting messages and interruptions that stretch well beyond the traditional 9 to 5. Evening meetings, especially those after 8 p.m., are up 16% from last year. Thanks to remote teams and flexible hours during typical work days, employees are interrupted 275 times. That's every 2 minutes. And the things that don't stop after hours, the average employee sent and received 58 instant messages outside of their core working hours. And by 10 p.m., nearly the third of the workers are back in their inbox. And don't forget the average 117 daily emails and the dozen of after-hour chats. The result? 1 in 3 workers say that they simply can't keep up. Microsoft compares the assembly of a bike before every ride. All efforts, no momentum. The report concluded by noting that the modern workday for many has no clear start or finish, and by the time that they reserve for focus of recovery may be spent catching up, prepping, and chasing clarity. The good thing? If you all worked all day every day, a Monday isn't too bad, then is it? 275 interruptions a day. That's not a job. That's parenting. Just think about that real quick as we are talking. I mean, that's interesting. So what do you look at as your average workday as we're currently speaking? I mean, I have no idea how it works for you. So this is why I'm bringing this up, because it definitely gets more and more interesting as life goes on. There is no doubt about that, as we are hanging out and doing our thing. So if your workday isn't terrible, well, that's good. If your workday is what exactly I just described there, that sounds terrible. That's not probably something you really enjoy overall when it's all said and done. Anyways, with that being said, I know this guy that likes to talk about everything being positive inside of the world because he's just a positive kind of person. So why don't we go ahead and do this right now? Let's go ahead and bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. You are aware that you can catch the John and Heidi Show afternoons here on Radio Big. But take a listen to this right now.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Larry. Ella Fitzgerald said, "Don't just give up trying to do what you really want to do. Where there is love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong." I agree with Ella. I know a guy who had an amazing job. He was well paid and he had great benefits, but he hated the job. It made him physically ill to go to work on Mondays. I asked him why he stayed there, and he said it was the money. He had a dream of doing his own thing, but he was afraid to try it. He finally did, and he loved every single day. He made far less money, but he was so much happier. For me, I choose happiness over money. Find something that makes you happy and find a way to make a living doing it.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Loneliness is a universal human phenomenon. Sooner or later, we all experience it. Just as a body expresses its need for food through hunger, so the soul expresses its need for relationship through feelings of loneliness. Relationships are to the soul what breath is to the body. Without them, we cannot truly experience life. Ecclesiastes 4 says, 2 are better than 1. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Lord Jesus, don't allow us to wallow in our loneliness. Instead, let it motivate us to reach out to others. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
The Rated R Safety Show.
A major escalation in the Middle East continues to unfold after Saturday's US B-2 bombers targeted 3 Iranian nuclear sites in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan.
The strikes aimed at degrading Iran's nuclear capabilities mark a significant expansion of U.S. involvement in the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict. Officials say the operation was precise, focusing exclusively on nuclear infrastructure. Global leaders are monitoring closely for Tehran's response.
Iran's parliament has reportedly voted in favor of closing a key oil transit corridor, responding to rising tensions with Western nations. Joseph Eckerson reports.
The move comes shortly after the bombings at its nuclear facilities and could sharply impact global oil markets. Analysts warn that oil prices may spike if transit routes are disrupted. Markets are already reacting to news of the Iranian measure.
United Nations diplomats convened Sunday to address the fallout from escalating hostilities between Iran and Israel.
The session aimed to assess humanitarian risks as regional strikes intensify. Country delegates urged immediate de-escalation and called for a ceasefire. Talks are expected to continue through the week. Chris Anderson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Protests entered their third week in Los Angeles following a wave of ICE raids targeting undocumented immigrants.
Demonstrators have clashed with law enforcement, prompting California Governor Gavin Newsom to sue the federal government over the presence of federalized National Guard troops. Over 575 people have been arrested and several have been injured during the ongoing civil unrest. Authorities in Los Angeles County report at least a dozen officers and demonstrators hurt in the clashes. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Nippon Steel has finalized its $14.9 billion acquisition of of U.S. Steel, marking a major international investment in American heavy industry.
The agreement retains U.S. Steel's name and Pittsburgh headquarters, while giving the U.S. government veto power over future decisions. Market analysts say the deal may stabilize domestic steel supply, but raise regulatory scrutiny. Shareholders of both companies will vote on the transaction later this year. Kevin Sanders reporting.
The Food and Drug Administration has approved Gilead Sciences' new HIV drug, lenacapavir, marketed as Yeztugo.
The medication offers long-acting prevention by requiring only twice-a-year dosing. Researchers say this could transform HIV prevention efforts and help reach patients with limited access to daily medication. Doctors hope it will improve adherence and outcomes for at-risk populations. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A tornado ripped through Enderlin, North Dakota Friday, killing 3 and leaving parts of the town damaged.
Emergency crews continue search and recovery operations in affected areas. State officials are assessing the full extent of the impact and have mobilized support services for displaced residents. Weather experts note the region experienced unusually intense storm patterns this season. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage. I'm talking the truth.
Hey now. Okay, so there you go. Some things always going on. Let's go ahead and talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in, let's see, in 2020, America records at the time the third highest daily total of more than 35,000 COVID-19 cases that happened back on this date in 2020. Let's talk about some birthdays going on today. Connor Jessup turns 31. Duffy turns 41. Melissa Rauch turns 45. Jason Mraz turns 48. Emmanuel Vatquel turns 49. Selma Blair, 53. Robert Brooks, 55. Eddie Marson, 57. Joey Allen, 61. Josh Whedon turned 61 as well. Francis McDormand turned 68. Tony Hill turned 69. Glenn Danzig turned 70 today. And Clarence Thomas turns 77. That's some birthdays for you for today. Of course, but the one that we're going to point out is Glenn Danzig, turning 70 today. So congratulations to him. Also, let's see what else. Let's have some days of the year to celebrate. It's National Pink Day, National Hydration Day, International Women in Engineering Day, National Let It Go Day, and National Typewriter Day. So a lot of stuff going on inside of that multiverse as we are talking. What else do I have for you? If you need a rando ando for you, I got one of those, because why would I not have that? So, random joke. It goes something like this. I never understand the concept of a gift card, because the same $50 my friend could have got me is $50. You know, it always restricts going just to that one place. Okay, if you need a phone starter for today, here is this. What is the most badass thing you've ever done? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A little more than half of men will post a selfie this summer of them doing this. What is it? Barbecuing. That is the answer. Barbecuing. Yeah. They'll barbecue. Yeah. That's what they're going to do. Anyways, before I forget, if you're interested, Conklin Conference coming up September, the 9th through the 11th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. There's a QR code for you right there if you're interested on scanning it. If not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events. Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jennifer T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, and myself will all be there if you're interested in coming about and hanging out and taking a look at what the hell is going on over there. So there you go. That will be taking place. Top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't, you can hang out right here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus. So there you go. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Those who have no vices also have no virtues. Think about that for a moment. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.